Jailed French serial killer Michel Fourniret, who murdered at least 8 girls or young women between 1987 and 2001, has died aged 79, officials say. Fourniret died in the secure unit of a hospital in Paris, the public prosecutor said on Monday. Dubbed the ogre of the Ardénes, he was serving 2 life sentences for the kidnappings and killings. Fourniret's wife, Monique Olivier, was also given a life sentence for complicity. Fourniret was jailed for life in 2008 after being convicted of the murders of 7 girls and young women. In 2018 he was given a second life sentence for the killing of a mobster's companion. He also confessed to several other murders, including that of British student Joanna Parrish. Fourniret's victims, most of whom were raped, were aged between 12 and 30. They were shot, strangled or stabbed to death. Most were killed in the Ardennes region of northern France and in Belgium. Paris prosecutor Rémi Heitz said Fourniret had died at La Pitié-Salpêtrière hospital, where he had been admitted on 28 April from the nearby Frasnes prison. Le Parisien newspaper said Fourniret had been suffering from a heart condition and Alzheimer's, and that doctors had placed him in an artificial coma. Mr. Heitz said an investigation into his death had been opened.
The Duke and Duchess of Sussex were the campaign chairs of Vax Live, which was broadcast last night, and Harry appeared on the stage to give a short speech.
concerned. You know, they said this violated international law, that it was unsafe, dangerous contact that came really close to a collision, as you can see. And there were repeated warnings by radio that the Iranian vessels ignored. And the Navy is saying we have the right to defend ourselves in these situations. I think what's interesting is we used to see these kinds of events pretty often for years. And for some reason, it tapered off in 2018. And then analysts are saying, look at the timing of this. We've had 2 of these incidents just in April, right as there are these high-stakes diplomatic talks going on in Vienna between Iran and world powers to try to revive that 2015 nuclear agreement. And the Revolutionary Guard is notoriously hard line, and they have rivals inside the Iranian regime. And so it's possible these incidents are also directed inside Iran against people who the Revolutionary Guard says are too ready to compromise with the West.
Dan DeLuce at the Pentagon. Thanks.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.
Good evening. Tonight, federal authorities are investigating a major cyber attack targeting America's energy infrastructure. Georgia-based Colonial Pipeline says it was hit by ransomware. The company responded by shutting its entire system down to protect it. Its pipelines run more than 5,000 miles from the Gulf Coast to New Jersey. The company transports 45% of the fuel consumed on the East Coast. Christina Ruffini leads us off from the White House with more. Good evening, Christina.
Good evening, Adriana. As you mentioned, federal law enforcement authorities as well as private security consultants have been called in to investigate the attack, during which bad actors were essentially able to force the shutdown of the largest refined petroleum pipeline in America.
Colonial Pipeline says it pumps 100 million gallons of fuel through its network every day. But right now, that number is 0. The company shut down its pipeline Friday after a cyber attack compromised its IT system. We have since determined that this incident involves ransomware, it said in a statement. In response, we proactively took certain systems offline to contain the threat. Colonial did not say and may not yet know who instigated the attack. Ransomware is an extortion tactic by which criminals infiltrate computer systems, steal data, and demand money for its release. Industrial cybersecurity expert Rob Lee.
Is there any industry or infrastructure that isn't vulnerable to these kinds of attacks right now?
Not at all. Our industrial networks are way more connected than they ever have been before. We haven't historically invested in them as much. Once we do that, we will see a lot of that risk reduce.
In February, a hacker gained access to a Florida water treatment plant in what authorities believe was a failed attempt to contaminate its drinking water. And last year's so-called SolarWinds breach used a software update to slip malicious code into dozens of government agencies and major U.S. companies. The White House says the Russian intelligence service was behind those keystrokes.
The White House says President Biden was briefed about the incident this morning, and the federal government is working with the industry to try to avoid shortages. Adriana, those pipelines carry everything from jet fuel to home heating oil.
Christina, is there any money for cybersecurity in the president's infrastructure bill?
There's not, and that's actually one of the criticisms. Industry experts and lawmakers have said there really needs to be investment in cybersecurity exactly to try to prevent attacks like we saw today.
All right, Christina Ruffini, thank you.
Times Now. Let's get you the latest update coming from Bihar at this point in time. Shocking visuals we've got for you from Buxar in Bihar. Locals say that over 150 bodies have been thrown on the banks of River Ganga. In fact, these bodies are likely to be washed downstream, and stray dogs will feed on them, and this can further lead to spread of the virus. A really sad state of affairs as far as Bihar is concerned. Sham joining us live at this point in time for more on this. Sham, give us more details.
Well, early in the morning, it's being said that around more than 100 bodies were found floating near the river here in Buxar district. Now, it's being said that the place is called Chausa, and these bodies were recovered on the banks of River Ganga. Now, since the place is just close to the border of Uttar Pradesh, on the other side of the river is the state of Uttar Pradesh. So it's being suspected that these bodies could have come floating from some other place, because even the villagers are surprised as to how come so many dead bodies have been seen at that place who were floating there. Now, top officials of the district administration have rushed to this place, since this place is about 40 kilometers away from Buxar main town. So senior officials of the district administration have rushed to this place to see to it, and certainly an investigation will be done. But as of now, what news is coming in that yes, the locals said that early in the morning they got to see that these bodies were kept there and floating. So now the investigation will certainly reveal the truth about it.